Welcome back to the Nerf Report. We have a fantastic show lined up for you this week. Phasmaphobia adds a brand new feature that leaves us asking, why? We try to solve the growing trend of gamer entitlement. We need to talk about the games you may have missed this week. And despite what you may have heard, Stadia is still alive. All of this and much, much more on this week's episode of the Nerf Report.
Are you listening?
Welcome back to the Nerf Report. My name is Bryant, and what a crazy week it's been for gamers. But before we dive into this week's news, I want to talk about TikTok. A place filled with countless dance videos, millions of copyright lawsuits just waiting to happen, and absolutely adorable videos of grandparents learning new trends. So tell me again why women are calling them wasps? And I've got to be honest, I am a huge fan of TikTok. You know, you never know what you're going to find when you're scrolling through the app. For example, this weekend, I found this gem.
I've had it up to about here with Sony. I've been a very dedicated Sony user my entire life. My entire life I stuck through with the PlayStation 3 for everything. I was there, that shitbox of a console. I was there, and I said it was a better console even though I knew it wasn't. Xbox owns Obsidian, they own inXile, they own Bethesda. And what does Sony give us? They give us indie games. They give us 10 indie games. Here you go, world. It's the coronavirus. Here's 10 indie games to make you feel better about yourself. F*** you, Sony. What are you talking about? Give us more. Do better. Keep up. Now Xbox is gonna buy Discord. And what are you gonna do? Nothing. You're gonna do nothing.
You know, when watching this video, I like to think that on the other side of the camera is a Subway sandwich artist who's just staring at the person like, that's cool, man, but just wanted to know if you wanted your sandwich toasted. Like, what is the point of this video? Did you really think for 1 second that Sony execs are going to watch this and just automatically do something? Yes, Xbox owns Bethesda, and Xbox is also in talks to purchase Discord. But the entitlement from this video is the perfect example as to why the video game industry is so ass backwards. Like, look, I don't know you, but you've been playing on the platform since the PlayStation 3. Congratulations! But this doesn't suddenly make you an expert in business or in how to run a video game company. Like, I've been eating Totino's pizza rolls my entire life, but you don't see me out there posting TikToks claiming to be an expert in how you fill soft but crispy pastries with delicious pizza filling. No, in fact, by posting this video, you've done nothing more than just proven the fact that you are entitled and are 100% everything that is wrong with the video game industry. And let's just get this clear. When you buy a console, the only commitment that the console manufacturer is making with you is that at the moment you unbox the hardware and plug it into the wall, it's supposed to work. They're not committing to more exclusives or buying other developers or even buying Discord. No, instead, your inflated sense of personal importance has led you to believe that because you buy a console, then that very said company must do everything in their power to make you happy. And just because it's probably worth saying, if you're at a point in your life where the decisions of console manufacturers are what determine your happiness, well then, my friend, it might be time to put the controller down and find a new hobby. Personally, I hear that Frisbee golf is fantastic. Up next, let's talk about Phasmaphobia, who this week announced a brand new update that just left me asking, who the hell asked for this? As if Phasmaphobia wasn't scary enough, this week the developer at Kinetic Games announced that the game now has support for B-haptic suits, allowing players to feel the impact of ghosts trying to kill you in the game. And to quote my late grandmother on this one, oh hell no! Like, let me get this straight. You took one of the scariest games around today and said, you know what, Jim, VR in Phasmaphobia just isn't scary enough. What if the ghosts could actually touch you? I mean, what's gonna happen next? You're gonna allow the demons to manifest themselves through the game and haunt my actual real house? Second thought, delete that from this week's show. This developer doesn't need any other ideas, okay? But all of this does raise a very important question. I mean, what if the ghosts don't want to touch us? I mean, COVID-19 is still ravaging many parts of the world. Ghosts in Phasmaphobia will now be exposed to an unsafe work environment. Can you imagine trying to be a ghost wearing PPE in the game? Alright, I'm just gonna say it. This is some bullshit. But in all seriousness, I get wanting to feel the touch of another human. I mean, many gamers have been stuck inside since early 2020, so let's just see who might be touching us after all. I mean, let's see some of these images of ghosts. Oh, okay. No. Nope. Sorry, Granny. Maybe. No. That's a hard pass. Patrick Swayze. Yes, thank you. I'd like to order one of your haptic suits, please. Now, this week also marked the arrival of a ton of new video games. So let's dive into the games that released this week in a reoccurring segment that we like to call Games You May Have Missed. First up, let's talk about Kazi and the Wild Masks, which is a brand new platformer from developer Pixel Hive. In Kazi, players will journey into a 90s classic inspired platformer taking place on the Crystal Islands. After a curse sweeps through the islands, Kazi needs to save her friend Hogo while facing enraged living vegetables. Kazi and the Wild Masks is available right now for PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Google Stadia. And speaking of Google Stadia, Dirt 5 finally arrived on the platform this week. Dirt 5 is a bold new off-road arcade racing experience created by Codemasters. Players will race through stunning maps and drive iconic cars, along with partaking in the game's star-studded career mode, 4-player split-screen play, and much more. Now, Dirt 5 is also available on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, but this week, Dirt 5 became available on Google Stadia. Up next, let's talk about It Takes Two from Hazelight Studios. It Takes Two lets players embark on the craziest journey of your life, as your characters have been turned into dolls by a magic spell. Players must travel through a fantastical world and save their fractured relationship. It Takes Two is out right now for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. And finally, let's talk about Monster Hunter Rise, the latest game in the Monster Hunter series, which features brand new ferocious monsters, new armor and weapons to craft, along with the fantastic multiplayer gameplay that has become expected with any Monster Hunter game. If this is all sounding exciting to you, well, good news is Monster Hunter Rise released this week exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. Now, clearly there were a ton of games that released this week, and these were only a small sampling of what came out. Did we miss anything important? Make sure to let us know what you've been playing in the comment section down below. And finally, for this week's show, let's talk about Google Stadia. Because I find it funny that Stadia is always portrayed as this fledgling company who's hanging on to life support, despite the company still making announcements. Like, it's genuinely beginning to feel like a Spanish soap opera. Miss Stadia, I'm afraid I need to talk to you about your husband. Oh God, I knew it. He's dead, isn't he? Oh my God, he's dead. No, actually the opposite. He's doing fine. In fact, I never thought that I would be a widow at this age. A woman this young should never lose her husband. Ma'am, your husband is still alive. Look at him, just grasping onto the final holds of life. Ma'am, is there anyone else that I can talk to? Ever since Google Stadia arrived, we were told that the platform was doomed from the very beginning. And following the closure of Stadia Games and Entertainment, these voices only became louder, as Stadia's restructuring as a company was seen as a prediction come true. However, if you're paying close attention to Google Stadia, they are very much still alive. In fact, in the last 7 days, the platform has announced over 9 new games coming to the service, including the likes of Ys 8 and 9, Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4, Dirt 5, along with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village. And the week before, Stadia shadow dropped Dragon Quest XI, along with bringing games like Terraria and FIFA 21 to the platform. And to be clear, within those announcements, Stadia also revealed that Resident Evil 7 would be coming to Stadia for free for Stadia Pro members during the month of April, along with the fact that Stadia is giving away Stadia Premier Editions to anyone who pre-orders Resident Evil Village, meaning that if you pre-order Village on Google Stadia, Stadia will be sending you a Stadia controller and a Chromecast Ultra, which is the equivalent of a 4K next-gen console for free, which is a killer deal, and hardly something that somebody would do from their deathbed. In fact, we talked about this earlier this week, but following the closure of Stadia Games and Entertainment, Stadia mentioned that they would be refocusing as a company. In fact, Stadia said that following the success that the platform saw after Cyberpunk 2077, they knew that they could build off this strategy. And since then, we've seen games launch on the platform at an extremely appealing discount like FIFA and Madden. We've had a ton of free-to-play weekends. We saw games like Little Nightmares 2 launch day and date on the platform for free for Stadia Pro subscribers, and now with Resident Evil 7 being free on Pro and Village offering a free Premier Edition, Stadia seems to not only be committed to bringing new games to the platform, but also ensuring that when games do launch on the platform, Stadia is one of the most appealing places to play. Which raises the really awkward question of what does a dead man do when they're technically not dead? And Stadia has a lot of things planned for 2021. First and foremost, Stadia is planning on launching over 100 plus games this year. And we already know that games like Ark Survival Evolved, Outriders, Far Cry 6, Life is Strange True Colors, Chorus, Judgment, Riders Republic, Trine 4, and Disco Elysium are all coming to Google Stadia. And those are just the games that have been confirmed. Rating boards like the ESRB are constantly listing games as coming to Stadia, including the likes of Legend of Keepers, 100 Days, Merrick's Market, Super Power Football, and Zorro the Chronicles are all listed as coming to Stadia. On top of that, Google Stadia will be coming to Google TV Chromecast in the first half of this year. And as if that wasn't cool enough, Stadia will also be coming to smart TVs by the end of 2021, meaning that you can install Stadia on your smart TV and play video games without needing a console or a Chromecast. You could essentially stream games like the latest Assassin's Creed or Resident Evil game with just a controller. So once again, Stadia is still very much alive. And granted, they may not be in the same position as Xbox or PlayStation, but that doesn't mean they can't exist at the same time. This happens in plenty of other industries. Like Netflix and Disney are just killing it right now in the streaming game. But you then have services like Shudder, which are an exclusive horror service, or Vudu, which is owned by Walmart. These can exist while Netflix and Disney are thriving. Or take streaming out of the question. Coke and Pepsi are obviously massive names, but are we just going to sleep on the fact that Royal Cola has been kicking ass since 1954? No! RC, hit me up. I've got a fridge right here waiting for you. The fact is, Stadia is still alive. Will they eventually die? Look, nobody can tell you that. Anything can happen. In fact, I just got done watching a documentary about Blockbuster. And if you would have asked anyone back then, will Blockbuster ever go out of business? The majority of people would have told you, you're fucking crazy. Anything can happen. The future is not written in stone. Xbox or PlayStation could shut down tomorrow. The only thing that is certain is that Stadia, at this moment in time, isn't dead. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Nerf Report. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and a special thank you to all of the Nerf Report best friends who make content just like this possible. Until next time, my name is Bryant, and this has been the Nerf Report. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks again for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw and you want to see more content just like it, which who wouldn't, hit the subscribe button right there. And while you're down there, hit the like button. Maybe even consider becoming a Nerf Report best friend, just like the people listed down below did. In fact, don't you want to see your name there? I know I do.